Good evening, folks, and welcome to Ridgecrest Talk, the Thursday night edition here on KZGN-TV. I'm your host, Al Huey, along with my partner host,
Robert
Eierman. And our special guest tonight is Mr. Mike Neal. Thanks,
Hi.
Mike, for being with us tonight.
Thank you. Thank you, Robert.
And we're here to talk to Mike. He was at a recent Water Board meeting, Indian Wells Valley Water District Board meeting, where if you had seen the article, I guess it was a week or so, maybe 2 weeks, I'm not quite sure. But
last week.
Okay, last week, where they talked about they're getting new smart meters. They had smart meters already, and I don't recall if those were opt-out or not. I just think they stuck them in, if I recall.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
But of course,
But those went bad, or
the
maybe the company went belly
bankrupt,
up,
yes.
bankrupt, and so they had to come up with new ones by direction of the California Water Resource Board.
Well,
Right?
Yes.
negotiated direction. I mean,
Was it negotiated?
yeah, I think it was.
I thought it was, you know.
Well, it was. It was boot on the neck.
Yeah. So then the board got a recommendation from staff to not allow any opt-outs on these smart meters. That's what motivated you to attend the meeting.
Yes.
And what did they have to say when you had your opportunity to talk to them?
Well, I basically told them that a smart meter is an invasion of someone's privacy, that I did not contract with the water district to do anything other than pay them for my water use, and that my data on my private use was my property, and that I demanded that they provide an opt-out for this because I did not want to provide them that data. I pay them for what I use every month, and that's all we're contracted between us to do. Because they've been told by the state to put in this, it's called it automated metering infrastructure, which is a either
Smart
minute
meter.
by minute, 15 minute by 15 minutes, whatever the time interval is as opposed to their old system, which was simply something that made it easier for them to read the meter once a month. It was a device that was there, and it collected the usage data, and the guy came by with a remote reading instrument and got the data. He didn't have to open the boxes. So this new system has got their own wireless towers all over town that they can smart grid through all the meters and talk to the system, and so they can pull you up on their computer and monitor your use on a fine-grained basis. And that's and their response is, well, if you have a water leak, then we can call you and tell you have a water leak. And you can eventually, I guess, get some software app, whatever, and you can, just like they did with the electric meters, you can monitor, you can look at your historical usage, you can, helps with conservation.
Mm-hmm.
So that was their two supposed reasons for doing this, both of which I doubt anybody's really going to make any effective use of, whatsoever. I don't know how many leaks occur, per month across the system. But
That's something we heard recently from the water district manager, that now they are going to have to report to the state monthly water leaks.
Yeah, but I don't think they were talking about water leaks at somebody's home. They're talking about water leaks from their delivery system,
That may be
which far outshadows water leaks from an individual.
right.
yeah, by a long shot.
I mean, now when I turn the water on to put water into my pool, are they going to call me and say, you have a leak?
Yeah, it's just to simply, I thought about this. I try to make things as easy to get the point about, as possible. And if you think about this basic just smart metering of whatever utility that you're using, people would say, well, I don't have a problem with them knowing what that data is. And first of all, they don't think that it's not just a utility, The police departments can get, I guarantee you they can get access to this data. Lots of other, government agencies can get access to this data, and any semi-smart hacker can get access to this data. And if they can look at your electricity, your gas, and your water use, they know really a lot about what is going on in your home minute by minute. And if you say, well, if you don't mind that, would you mind if we just send a guy in to sit in your living room and he won't bother you, but he'll just try to look around and see what's happening, what's going on here? They wouldn't like that idea at all, but yet they're letting this electronic eyeball into their daily activities with the smart metering. And I don't want it, but the board, their response, there's only one gentleman who seems to understand this, and he wanted to allow some opt-out. And the rest of them is like, no, because the lawyer said, well, if you let one guy opt out, you have to allow the option for everybody to opt out.
Yes.
And they're all scared of that. But do they really think every customer is going to opt out of this? It ain't going to happen.
Well,
and what is their concern with a number of people opting out?
Because the state has told them they have to do this. And I think they probably think that everybody has to be monitored.
But the California Public Utilities Commission has some 128 water districts that fall under their jurisdiction. Unfortunately, ours is not one of them. But they allow for opt-out on water meters.
You need to use stronger language than that. They have mandated that there will be an opt-out.
Okay. And it's not just the water, smart meters for water. That's for electric and gas, all utilities.
Yes.
So I don't know why, again, the water districts being so heavily handed on this issue. But
let's just put it in the true sense. Why are they acting like jackbooted thugs from Nazi Germany?
Yeah.
That's my question.
Given the scenario here in this community and how the people have responded when the water district asked people, please conserve, we got to conserve. And the public responded. Now, we haven't reached the 36%, but we've gotten much higher.
And we'll continue this right after the break. We're going to have to go away. Let some advertisers pay for us. Join us after the break.
Right back.
And welcome back to our second segment here on Ridgecrest Talk. I'm Robert Eierman, along with Al Huey, and our special guest tonight is Mr. Mike Neal. And we're talking about smart water meters imposed by the Indian Wells Valley Water District. And you had some information you wanted to share.
Yes. Based on the fact that the water district is stating that they've been told by the Department of Water Resources that they have to put in this automated metering infrastructure.
Which is an arm of the state.
Yes,
Regulatory
that's
arm.
the state telling them, because they are doing it in obedience to this mandate, they now become an agent of the state. And if the state comes along and tells you to do something that invades your privacy, then you have Fourth Amendment protections in that case. And since they're an agent of the state, we should have Fourth Amendment protections from this action because of their position, I guess, is that they're being put in. They're acting on behalf of the state, essentially.
For those out there that might know, tell them what the Fourth Amendment is.
The Fourth Amendment is one of the famous 10 Bill of Rights to the Constitution that says that they cannot search you, your private person, your home, your property without a warrant. And it gives you freedom from somebody coming in to take data from you, information from you, or things from you that are your private property. And data about you and what you do is your private property.
That's why the PUC allows for opt-outs.
Right. You either agree, consent,
Right.
or
You can opt
you
out.
can opt out and the only way that they could do anything was to serve a search warrant on it.
And you said you did some checking on this before coming down here tonight, and you found out that it costs somewhere between $60 to $100 and some dollars
Yeah, anywhere
initially
from,
to opt out.
yes,
and then $10 to $15 a month after that.
Yes.
For up to a total of 3 years.
3 years,
And
yes.
then that fee goes away.
That's my understanding. That was a quick research, but I believe that would be accurate.
Yeah, and that subject came up, when I was speaking to the water board, and they were saying, well, basically saying, well, if we don't automatic meter you, then it's going to may cost you a lot of money. And I just said, well, the electric company only charges me like $10 extra a month. I believe it's the same with the gas company. I don't understand why the water district would have to charge me more than that. I mean, if they wanted to, we'd have to talk about it, but to retain my privacy, although I kind of resent being extorted like this, I would be willing to pay extra per month. But their basic approach is, oh no, we don't want to let anybody opt out. This one document that I've gotten, it's a 75-page document. It's called a perspective on how smart meters invade individual privacy. It's by someone named K.T. Weaver, and you can easily find that on the web. That's where I found it. Their recommendation about the basic smart meters in general were, if they're going to have these, and people, in order to avoid basically Fourth Amendment violations, it says there are 3 things they really ought to do. They ought to minimize their data collection. They ought to require explicit consent from the customer for data collection that's above and beyond what is required for their billing purposes. And they should collect only enough data at the substation level, and this is, I think, a critical part, to be necessary to bill you for your utility use. And this kind of system the water district wants to put in is way, way, way beyond any of that.
The data doesn't go to a substation, as I understand it.
Directly, it'll be going directly to their central office.
No, it goes directly to that third party that they contract.
Oh, right, okay.
And then they, in turn, send it to the water district.
So there's another data breach point
Yes,
right there.
exactly.
How secure is that whole system?
What kind of information, what kind of data are they collecting? Is not only obviously the water usage, but is your name on there, your address, your phone number, your social security number, that kind of information that is out there that can be hacked by, and we know there's a big thing these days with people losing personal information to hackers.
No. Just because a teenager can hack the CIA directors, no worries here.
Yeah. And I told them that too. I said, if the government cannot protect itself from being hacked, there's no way that the water district or any company associated with it is going to be able to protect themselves from having this data hacked. It isn't going to be happening.
Is there anything in there? There's a very easy way to defeat any smart meter. You just build a Faraday box around it, heavy, fine mesh, and ground it, and no signals go in or out.
Right.
Did they say anything in there about the consequences of a citizen doing that?
No, that probably would end up being a fight. I did notice one. It's actually a company they're building a lock that you can put on they have one for water meters, and it's a clampable device. It clamps on each side of the water pipes around the meter and is locked with whatever your choice of padlock is. So you go out there and clamp it on there, and they show up to change your meter out. They can't take the meter off.
Well, okay. In the same context, lift up the box, slide your Faraday box down over the meter, put that lock in place, done deal.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could go out and take it off once a month.
You guys
So
are
the
just
meter
a bunch
can
of
report the
radicals, you
usage,
know that?
Yeah, well.
I like to consider us freedom fighters.
Yeah, and that's the biggest problem with an issue like this is, you show up to voice an opinion based on rights to freedom, rights to privacy, and you're like the only guy in the room,
And
so they
I
say,
did
we have
notice-
10,000 customers, you're the only guy here complaining,
And they did take a photo of you at that board meeting, and I noticed he did dress appropriately. Did you have?
Oh, yeah, of course. In a yellow T-shirt that says "Don't tread on me."
That's right.
Yes. Well, I think they knew what was coming as soon as I walked in the door. But of course, that did not modify their response to what I would consider the appropriate response. So, and that's what I expected, unfortunately. And I think we need some other board members on that board in the future.
We're going to have to break away again. Join us back here after the break.
Welcome back to Ridgecrest Talk. We're here with Mike Neal, who, like we said at the beginning of the show tonight, was in attendance at the last Indian Wells Valley Water District Board meeting and spoke out on these smart meters that the Water District wants to put on everybody's water meter.
In accordance with the state mandate.
Yeah, it's in accordance with the California Department of Water Resources.
They had said that had to be done by November 1st or 2nd.
Right.
And then they said, well, okay, just tell us that you're going to do it and give us a progress report.
Right. So these are coming. I was talking on the break there. If any of the board members discussed at this meeting what kind of data these meters are going to be collecting, and that wasn't discussed, they didn't know. And you said that they're going to do, some kind of report?
No, I think they're basically just in the process. They're doing some small number of meters to start with. Their process is to do it that way and try it out, make sure things are working before they go out all whatever it is. Probably 10,000 customers.
I thought there was 12,000, but I could be wrong.
10 to 12,
whatever it is.
They're going to take it in little steps, so it's not going to happen real soon. But basically, they're going to do it as soon as they can get it, in place. And so
I think they're figuring they have it online by February or something.
I didn't hear that date.
It would take a while.
Yeah,
they have
it really
to physically change the meters out.
Yeah. The previous one, they didn't change the meters. They just added something to it. But this requires the entire meter change?
I believe that's probably the case.
Wow. Who the heck? I mean, clearly, we the customers will pay for it.
We're
but
paying.
That's got to be very expensive.
I'm sure. You can look for your rates to go up, folks.
Yeah.
And all of this will get in place about the time that a significant impact on the drought will have occurred with El Nino, and there won't be any more crisis. But speaking of that, if you drove down Highway 14 going down to Lancaster, in fact, if you drive on China Lake Boulevard out to Inyakern, you will see all kinds of greenery. And the desert is just alive out there. And so if you were to tell someone that we here in Indian Wells Valley are in a drought, they would probably look at you with askance and wonder what it is you were doing that's illegal, putting it into your body, because there's no sign of a drought.
All you need to do is qualify that. Just tell them we are in a drought of freedom here in this state.
I agree.
Yeah, and that's one point I brought up at the meeting last week. I'm surveilled easily for my cell phone use. I'm surveilled on my internet use. I'm surveilled. If you go to Lancaster, they actually have an airplane that flies regularly all over the city with a surveillance camera to look for whatever they choose to look for. Anytime you're out in public, you're surveilled. And of course, the police can access any of these cameras that are on all the business buildings.
Well, that's
and
because we're
everything else.
terrorists.
We're not
Yeah.
we're not trustworthy as citizens, obviously, and so now we're surveilled electric use, gas use, and now soon
Credit
soon to be
card.
water use. And I told him, I'm surveilled in all these ways that it's hard for me to stop, to do anything about.
Yeah.
I'm an engineer, and I've figured out ways I can get around some of these things, and there's probably ways, like you said, Robert, to get around their surveillance of the water usage also. But it's kind of a pain in the neck, and I don't really want to have to go take extraordinary measures to combat that. I just don't want it going on, and there's without any real good reasons for me to be surveilled on my water use. It makes, as usual, no sense in my mind. But 4 members of the board saw absolutely no problem with it. So.
Well, I thought it was 3.
Oh, that's right. There were only 4 there.
Yeah.
I'm right. There was 3 others, and one, like I said, Mr. Griffith, he wanted to allow people to opt out,
Right.
but he was quickly talked down, and actually, in my opinion, talked down too by some of the senior board members, and they just kind of pushed it aside. Let's approve this. Let's go on.
Well, next week, we hope to have Mr. Zadiba, the Water District Manager, on our show. We haven't confirmed that yet, but hopefully we'll have an opportunity to sit down and chat with him and maybe get some more information on these smart meters and why they're not allowing people to opt out. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, why do they choose to go against the precedence that has been set by the PUC, by the utility companies? They all have opt-out programs.
Right.
And so it kind of bothers me that the Indian Wells Valley Water District Board of Directors chose this kind of a approach.
I was talking to somebody the
Yes.
other day about where our government has gone. I look back in the early 60s was when I was growing up.
Yeah.
And, I had, as a kid, my parents wanted me to have a bank account. I didn't have a Social Security number, but I had a bank account. Try to get a bank account today without having a Social Security number.
Well,
Yeah.
Impossible.
Impossible, that's right.
Impossible. I used to get paid by a check that I'd go to the bank and cash and get money. Or, in some cases, I got paid cash. There aren't many people that are getting paid that way today. It's all
No.
electronic.
Yes.
And what I'm trying to say is the government, like you were saying, monitors us so much. They know where we are, what we're doing, or what we have done. And they're getting to the point what we were talking here in this last year about they want to be able to put some kind of meters on the vehicles so they can charge you by the mile.
Yes, that was SB 350, which
Yeah.
fortunately got kiboshed, but
For this time.
for this
this
time,
year.
they'll be back with
They'll
it.
be back.
Yeah.
Well, we want to thank you for coming down here tonight. We might have you
Al.
back.
Okay. I'll be glad to come.
Let us know what you think about these water meters, or better yet, let the water district know what you think about these
Please,
meters.
Yeah.
That's the best way. Attend the next water board meeting and let them know, or write them an email, call them, let
All
them
three.
know. Yeah,
All 3.
All 3, yeah.
Yeah.
Bombard them because they think I'm the only guy out there that doesn't want it.
right. Well, again, thanks for joining us tonight. We hope you have a great evening, and join us next week when we'll be talking with Mr. Zadiba, hopefully. Have a great evening. Night, folks.
Night.